Hello everyone, it's time for this week's couple video. We hope you enjoyed last week's video and that you applied everything that Lindri and Jonathan talked about. If you missed last week's video, just have a look on our page and also have a look in the comment section where there will be some application that you can apply and some practical stuff that you can have a look at as a couple.
Yes, and today is video number 2, so we're looking at resolving conflict and the right way to do it. So enjoy!
Enjoy!
Hi everyone, so this is our second video on marriage tips that we would love to share with you guys.
Thank you for everyone who has responded to our video, and it's really an honor for us just to share out of our marriage and what we have learned from the mistakes that we have made. And may this also be a tool to invest in your marriage.
So we've had quite a few questions about managing conflict, especially now in this season where there's misunderstandings or things are said that shouldn't be said, and how do you now navigate and manage that conflict? So today we're going to speak on that, and the first thing that I want to share is that conflict is not a bad thing. Conflict means there's something that needs to grow, there's something that needs to be developed that's being suppressed, and it creates a frustration. So many couples try and avoid conflict. I don't think that's a healthy way to approach it. The way we handle conflict is important, but conflict itself, if dealt with correctly, can bring forth either personal growth or it can help you in your marriage to grow, the relationship can grow. So we want to encourage couples to go into conflict, but to go in a biblical way, in an honoring way, so that there can actually be growth. Proverbs 18 verse 21 says that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. So the way we speak is crucial. It can either be like bullets or knives hurting each other. The words that we use can either destroy or break down, or it can actually bring healing and restoration and build up. It can be almost like an ointment that has been placed on a sore that brings healing. So the way we go into conflict, the way we speak is crucial. So today we're going to give you some principles of how you can manage conflict better and actually go through conflict. But we want to do this from a biblical foundation. So we're going to use a specific scripture as a basis from where we're going to share these principles. And this scripture is found in James 1 verse 19 to 20. And it says, "Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God." So this scripture is powerful in that it encourages us to be slow to speak, slow to anger, and quick to listen. So we're going to share 5 principles that you can apply in your marriage.
So the first principle is to pause. This is a principle of learning to wait. You as a couple must choose to decide to stop the conversation that you are having, to pause and to say, okay, we are going to continue maybe on a later time. Tonight after 8, when our kids are sleeping, we're going to continue with our conversation. And before you get together again, before you meet, you must have a meeting with yourself. Ask yourself, why are you disappointed? Why are you discouraged or so angry, that you can have an objective way to enter into that conversation again.
So I think it's crucial that you, when you're going to engage in conflict, that you do it from a stable place. So when you know there's just so much emotions going around, just choose to pause. It's a decision you have to make. The second principle is learn to listen, or to listen well. Most of us think that we're good listeners, but in reality, we only listen to respond. So you'll have a conflict situation, you'll have a conversation, and then the other person says something and you want to react on that. And before you know it, you're fighting about stuff that's got nothing to do with the original topic that you had a misunderstanding about. So we do this because we hear stuff and then we react from those things. So a great way to handle conflict is to learn to listen, not to respond, but to understand and hear the other person. And this requires discipline. It requires you to put your emotions aside for a while and say, I value enough to listen to you. And a great way that you can do this is by what we call mirroring. So a mirror can only reflect that what is projected towards it. So if you realize that you're in a sticky situation, you're missing each other, you say, but you don't hear me, a great practice to do is to mirror each other. So what you simply do, one person will stay quiet, allow the other person to speak, and once they've spoken, you ask simply back, did I hear you correctly? And then you try to mirror that what the other person said. You don't try to respond, you just simply mirror what the other person said. And then the other person said, yes, you did hear me correctly, or no, you missed me. And you continue to do that until that, let's say for instance, Lindri is heard. And once you said, yes, you've heard me, you can switch around and now I can share and Lindri can mirror.
The third principle is truth in love. And it's like a hamburger principle. You have a bun, a patty in the middle, and then a bun again. So you say, I choose to believe that you want our marriage to work. I choose to believe that you want this to work. But when you said that and that and that, it hurt me and I experienced that you didn't love me, or it was unloving, or I experienced rejection. But let's chat about it. Can we take it further? Can we make this work?
Now, I don't know about you guys, but most of our fights are just before dinner or just while we're driving in the car, and that's never a great place to try and resolve conflict. And I think that's why it's so important that you pause, that you create those moments where you can actually mirror each other and share those frustrations, that you can think through, that you can speak the truth in love. But the fourth principle that we want to share with you is somewhere this conflict needs to stop. Somewhere you have to stop the conversation. And how you stop it is by taking responsibility. And this requires great humility. And what I mean by humility, somewhere both of you have got to make a decision where you say, I'm going to take responsibility for my part in this. And there's always two parts to this. So, and taking responsibility is learning to say, I'm sorry. Now, we always say, don't ruin an apology with an excuse. A bad way of apologizing is saying, I'm sorry that you experienced me in that way. But if you just did something different, I wouldn't have responded. It's just not an apology at all. So just discipline yourself not to go to the self-justification area where you add the but to your apology. Simply say, I'm sorry. And sometimes you have to say sorry even for things that in essence might not be wrong, but because you did it, it caused pain to the other person. So what I've said might not have been wrong, but the way I did it was hurtful towards Lindri. And then I would apologize and say, I'm sorry that my behavior or the words that I used caused this and this and this effect in your life. And you take responsibility for this conflict by owning up, taking a responsibility for your part and apologizing to each other for that.
The fifth principle is to forgive. It's a choice. You can't wait for your emotions or your feelings to come into a place of, I want to forgive. It's really a choice that you need to forgive. And it's a continual thing. You're going to have to maybe forgive the person a lot of times, but it's not a feeling. It's not based on a feeling. It's based on a choice.
You continue to forgive until your emotions are in line with your forgiveness. And I think that is crucial. You cannot forgive only when the other person deserves your forgiveness. Imagine Jesus only forgave us when we deserved his forgiveness. No, we want to reflect his love and his grace towards each other. And therefore forgiveness is a choice. And you choose to forgive that person. So if I said, I'm sorry for this, I asked Lindri, would you forgive me? And Lindri would just have to choose to forgive me. And you continue to forgive until you feel that thing in your heart is resolved. And if you feel it's not resolved, if you feel there's still tension, then maybe you have to continue this conversation and do it again. But we want to get to a place where conflict is resolved in that there's a true apology and there's true forgiveness, demonstrating grace and love. And once we get to do that, then our marriage starts to reflect the love of Christ. Not just towards each other, but also towards other people. So thank you. We hope that this video helps you, and I hope you are blessed through this. But more importantly, we hope that you'll be able to resolve some of the conflict that you might be facing in a godly way so that you'll see growth in your relationship as well.
It's like in my mirror. Whoa.
Thank you for reminding us about tip number 2, mirroring each other until we understand. So we hope you enjoyed it and that you will actually go and apply this. It's really important for couples to resolve conflict and to see it as a positive thing. Don't be afraid to have differences and see it as an opportunity to grow as a couple.
Yes, and guys, remember, it's a good thing. Listen, talk and listen. And even though the ladies is right most of the time, it's always just important to spend this time together. So
Yes.
please leave your comments. Even if you struggle with certain things, leave your comments and we'll talk about it. And enjoy your week.
Bye.